Dialogue in the Dark is a new concept in interactive exhibitions. It's designed to raise awareness about what life is like for a blind person and to provide jobs as well for the vision impaired.
The creator of the concept is in Melbourne scouting locations for an exhibition next year. Zoe Daniel has more.
Every day, people who are vision impaired navigate places like this, Flinders Street Station in Melbourne. Now, Guide Dogs Victoria is launching a partnership with the world-renowned Dialogue in the Dark, where visitors are led by blind guides, providing both jobs and also a new perspective on the smell, sound and feel of the city. Joining us this morning, we have Karen Hayes, who's the Chief Executive of Guide Dogs Victoria, and Andreas Heinecke, who's the creator of Dialogue in the Dark. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Zoe.
Good morning.
Tell us, why has Guide Dogs Victoria become involved in this?
This is a wonderful opportunity for Guide Dogs Victoria to bring an exhibition to Australia that will create job opportunities for people who are blind or vision impaired, but also create an opportunity for the community to really take a walk in the shoes of somebody who's vision impaired and understand that, vision impairment isn't necessarily poorer, it's just different.
Andreas, it's a really intriguing idea. Can you explain to us just how it works?
Well, I think we are now in this station, and usually everything, everything is so much captured by visual images. But now when you close your eyes, I think that the impression is completely different. So we want to recreate, for instance, this station or other iconic, places and spaces here in Melbourne. And when you are coming, then you are guided by a blind guide. That means you are blind and the blind decided. That means it's a whole swap. But of course, I think to give references, you want to recreate let's say specific places and squares and places in Melbourne, and then you are are guided by blind people, and you have a chance to explore Melbourne in a completely different way.
We're standing here at the entrance to Flinders Street Station, one of the most iconic buildings in Melbourne and indeed in Australia. I know you've been to Queen Victoria Market as well. What other sorts of places or experiences are you looking at recreating?
Well, I think what we are doing, and now we're doing it in 39 countries. We all the time try to understand what is, the local touch. So when you are in Mexico, for instance, we have, of course, huge markets, and everything is so much, so much busy in terms of, sales and communication. In New York, we had a tram, and a metro, a subway, and we had Times Square. So we try to capture by sound, by texture, by smell, by wind, let's say, the ambience of a specific place. We're recreating it in a gallery of maybe 1,000 square feet, and then through the guidance of blind people, you got a completely new understanding about the beauty of the non-visual, let's say, setting.
Connie, as a vision impaired person, what do you think of the idea of creating an exhibition where vision impaired people take sighted people into environments so that they can experience what that might be like to be in the dark, if you like?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because often, generally speaking, I find people, their intention is try to help it, but they have no concept of what it's like to move around in a crowded environment when you've got to rely on a guide dog and your other senses, and you've got to move really careful and be aware, and because most people are visual beings, and they just take it for granted that they're moving around, but I'm amazed how often they just don't see my dog.
Karen, apart from anything else, it sounds like fun for someone who's not vision impaired, but what can we learn from the experience, and I guess how can that develop us as a community?
I think what it is, this is a sensory exhibition that will create an opportunity for people to really understand what it's like to live with a vision impairment, and out of that creates the opportunity for people to understand how they can help somebody who's vision impaired, how they can create a discussion with somebody who's vision impaired, and just have that experience that they wouldn't find possible elsewhere.
We're here in Grand Final week. I guess the sky's the limit in terms of the sorts of experiences that you can recreate for people. But I mean, just thinking on that, it must be amazing to be vision impaired and in that kind of environment of something like that, a big event.
Oh, absolutely. I think we can really learn something from people who are vision impaired in terms of how they use their other senses to really capture the essence of a city. And that's really what Dialogue in the Dark will provide for us, is we'll look at how do we create these iconic sites like Flinders Street Station or the MCG or, you know, the Melbourne Theatre Company or whatever, to really use your other senses to really appreciate the essence of these iconic sites.
Thank you very much to both of you. As you know, Karen is one of our regulars, the Chief Executive of Guide Dogs Victoria, and Andreas Heinecke is the creator of this exhibition theme, and it's hoped that these will be up and running in Melbourne sometime next year.